You are listening to The Underground Subway with host David Alston, a podcast dedicated to giving you the strategies to live a free and better life. Here is David Alston.
Hi, I'm David Alston, host of the Underground Subway. I want to thank you for joining me for this podcast. I want to thank those of you that are faithful listeners, those that are subscribers to the podcast. We come to you every week discussing strategies to how to live a better life. And some of those strategies include stories. It includes inspirational moments and stories from people's lives who said, I've gone through certain things. I've gone through some difficult times and difficult situations, and I survived. And if I can survive, then you can survive. The Underground Subway comes from the title of the Underground Railroad. My grandmother was first cousins with Harriet Tubman, who led the Underground Railroad. Well, we're in 2022 and we don't have an underground railroad. We have the Underground Subway. And so we're doing what we need to do by way of modern technology to make sure that we can help you, my friends, live a better life. You're going to release all of the chains, all of the bonds that have been holding you back, and you're going to be free, and you're going to live a liberated life. What is freedom? Freedom simply means that you're able to think, function, move, and act without limitations. We're removing all of the chains so that you can be free. My friends, I am excited beyond measure of this podcast. Sometimes I come on and talk to you myself, and most time I have a guest to come on, but I am super excited about my guest for this podcast. I am just ecstatic, and I want to introduce my guest, and I want to hear her story and hear a lot of things that she's gone through. All of us have gone through traumatic circumstances. All of us have gone through things that have made us say, I just want to give up. All of us have gone through things that made us say, I want to quit. But yet there's something inside of you that keeps fighting. There's something inside of you that says, I can't quit. I can't throw in the towel. Well, my guest is going to tell you her story, and you're going to say, wow, what an amazing story and what an amazing moment of inspiration that I'm going to use going forward. Her name is Sara Im. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Sara Im. And Sara has life lessons, and she has life lessons and has gained wisdom that impacts others due to her experience of surviving the mass genocide of Cambodia. Her inspirational award-winning book entitled How I Survived the Killing Fields was honored in 2015. As a speaker, she shares how tenacity, perseverance, and faith are required values to conquer fear and reach success. Sara speaks to help listeners refocus, build confidence, and develop self-leadership at conferences, seminars, churches, schools, TV, podcasts, radios, shows, and more. Sara operates a wellness business called Smart Healthy Living. She also co-hosts a weekly live show on Facebook called A Thriving Conversation. Of all the things that Sara has done, I am extremely honored to be able to welcome to the Underground Subway, Sara Im. Thank you, Sara, so much for joining us, and welcome to the Underground Subway.
Thank you so much, David, for inviting me to be your guest today. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
I think I will debate that. I think it's mostly my pleasure having you. Sara, I want to get right to it. I want to give you all the time that you need to be able to talk to us, because I believe that you're going to inspire us and move us forward. Uh, your bio talks about your ordeal in Cambodia. Tell us your story, and I have a few questions I want to ask you and get into it. But tell us about your life growing up in Cambodia. Right now, you're living in a beautiful area in Crystal River, Florida. which I'm originally from Philadelphia, and I know about Crystal River because not Crystal River, that's my hangout spot. You're in Clearwater, Florida. That's why I always go play golf is in Crystal River. You're in Clearwater, Florida, and I know about Clearwater, Florida because I'm from Philadelphia, and that's where our baseball team plays during the spring. They always go to Clearwater. So I know that's a beautiful area, but you grew up in Cambodia. Talk to us about your life growing up in Cambodia.
Yes, of course. My life growing up in Cambodia is, well, I am a firstborn child to a farmer. Uh, my parents are farmers, and they live in a small village in the countryside and close to nature. I enjoy my childhood very much. Growing up, I feel so loved and secure. And my parents believe in education, and they always encourage me to stay in school, do well, get higher education, and you will not be doing farming like us.
Mhm.
Farming is hard work, and I don't want you to be a farmer when you grow up. So that has been in my mind since I was young. But things change. Um, well, when I was 14, my mom had an accident and she became paralyzed.
I'm so sorry.
And as the firstborn, I was a caregiver. I took care of her with loving heart. I love my mom so much that I would not would would do anything to help her get better.
Mhm.
So that experience helped us bond. I love show to one another. It's such a strong bond. That's have been in my life all these years. But when I got a chance to attend college, by that time, my mom just recovered from her paralysis,
Mhm.
and she was able to earn some income to send me to college. And the college is in a big city, in the capital city of Phnom Penh, which is about 200 to 300 miles away from my hometown. That means I had to leave my family behind. And I went to the big city pursuing higher education.
Mhm.
And shortly while I was in college, this a very bad thing happened to Cambodia. That's the time when the Khmer Rouge communists took over our country.
Okay. And
They,
this was about what 1975 is around that.
yes, April 1975. So they came in with madness, with anger and resentment, and they shut down the whole country. I mean, complete shutdown. And that include the transportation. So I was stuck. I could not go home.
Mm.
And the communication line was also shut. I cannot call or send a letter to communicate with my parents. But they also pursued to evacuate the whole city. And I found out later that it's not only the city that I was in, the city in all Cambodia. They evacuate people out of the city and push people away to go to the countryside where there are a lot of rice fields. And that's what happened to me. And I left everything behind and then walked with the very crowded people and moving away from the city. I end up in the countryside, and then later on, they just within the next few weeks, they displaced some people, and I was among them. So
So,
I was
so you
taken
were in,
from that.
so you were in college during this time.
Yes, yeah, I was in college when that thing happened, but as soon as they came in, they shut down. The college was shut down before they came in because there was the holiday. It
Oh,
was a Cambodian New Year celebration holiday.
mhm. You wrote a
Yeah.
book. You wrote a book entitled, in your bio, I was mentioned that you wrote a book called "How I Survived the Killing Fields." What what was the killing fields? What did that mean?
The killing fields, it's my next step in my journey is that I was displaced from the village into that location, the camp. It's the camp where they force people to work extremely hard, very harsh condition,
Mm,
and they don't give us enough food to eat. They don't give us enough time to sleep or rest,
mm,
and we were exhausted and starved and sick.
mm. And
So that's in general, that's the killing field. But on top of that, they they took away the people that have higher education, people that used to work for the previous government, or people have a business. So they took them away to kill them. I have not seen my own eye, but they kill a lot of them that they don't have enough room to dig the graves. They throw in a massive grave. That's where the killing fields coming from.
mm. And all of this time, your parents have no idea, not just where you are, but they don't know whether you are alive or not.
That's correct. They have no idea. And I have no idea what happened to them also.
What was the hardest, most difficult part? Was that the most difficult part of all of this? Not being connected with your family?
Yes, yes, that's the most difficult part. And also the sickness and the exhaustion.
Wow. So you experienced that as well. That's just mind-boggling that, not enough food, not enough. What were the sleeping conditions like?
The sleeping condition. We went to sleep very around midnight, and we have a shelter to sleep in, but our sleep time is only like 4 hours a night.
Wow. Were you able to sleep comfortably, or was it, like because we go to bed now, we sleep in a nice soft bed with blankets or whatever. What was that like? Was it
No, no,
crowded or
we don't have anything comfortable like that. We sleep on a hardwood floor,
mm,
just just bare wood floor, and there's no mosquito net. Cambodia, there's a lot of mosquito, and usually in our home we use the net to protect us from mosquito. But in this camp, we sleep without any mosquito net. So we are we are wide open, available for mosquitoes to bite us all the time.
mm. What type of work did was it a lot of physical labor, or was it difficult?
Yes, the physical labor. All of us were pushed to work in the rice field. Working in the rice field, you bend down all day long to plant the rice, or in the harvest season, you bend down to harvest the rice. So either bend down to plant or bend down to harvest. And in between the season, um, we were pushed to the canal.
Hmm.
So all the time we were out in the heat, in the intense hot sun. Cambodia is a tropical country, and the weather is always hot. It's like on the average it's about 100-degree Fahrenheit.
Wow. So what happened when you
So
what happened when you got sick? You from the heat or sick from anything, mosquito bite, bug bites. What type of medical treatment, if any, did you receive?
we don't receive anything, nothing. I within my first 2 months, I became very sick, and my sickness start out with a high fever, and then malaria, and then typhoid. So all all those conditions happen simultaneously, and I don't receive anything to help me. On top of that, I cannot stay. I cannot take a day off. I have to go to work.
Wow.
Just keep working. If I don't work, I will not receive any food.
Mm.
So although the food is little, I I still I still want that food.
Listening to this, it probably we can talk for hours just going over these, the memories. It's heartbreaking that people treat others like that and allow people to suffer like that. But what can you now, years later, 45, 47 years later, what can you learn? What life lesson or can you gain from that experience that can help someone else who may not be going through something as traumatic as that, but we could be going through something that is really painful in our lives? What lesson or how could you apply what you went through to help others?
What what I learned, what life lesson that I consider is valuable to me is that I was able to survive, although so many of my friends did not survive. But I'm grateful. But it's because of my mindset. I am thinking about my family all the time.
Uh-huh.
I I share with you how I care for my mom. So our relationship getting so close. I love my mom, and we have that unbreakable love bond between us.
Hmm.
And now that I I was separated from my family, I still yearn want to be together.
Hmm.
And that is my purpose. When we go through hard time, we have to have a purpose to live. Otherwise, we will give up. For me, my purpose is to keep myself alive long enough so that I will have an opportunity to reunite it with my family. Not just to reunite it. I want to reunite to help them. I want to help because I know my family can use my help.
What happened when that when you did reunite? How was that?
Oh, it was amazing. Um, it took a long journey. I took it took an escape, a, a life threatening escape to find my way back home. But when I found my family, we were just so elated, so happy.
Mhm.
And my mom told me later on, she said she did not recognize me
Right.
because I was out of shape.
Right.
I I lost all the weight that I can possibly lose.
Wow.
And you know, it's it's very heartbreaking. And my dad was riding the bicycle all over the town, keep asking people, have you seen my daughter, have you seen my daughter? Imagine that. she he ride the bicycle everywhere and looking for me, but
Wow.
I was not found.
Do you think, Sarah, that people take for granted? You said something powerful. You said that we survive when we tap into, we find our purpose. And our
Yes,
purpose is what causes us to survive. Your purpose was reuniting and building a stronger relationship with your family. Do you think people take family for granted?
a lot of people do. They don't realize how important the relationship can be. For me, it's a life-saving uh, situation,
Mhm.
because imagine if let's suppose that I don't have a family to dream about. Why should I endure so much so long for 4 years in a very harsh condition?
Wow. And
A lot of people give up. A lot of people give up because there's mm, there's when you die, it's a lot easier than living in that condition.
wow, that I don't know whether you know what you just said, but that is powerful. You said when you die, it's much easier than living. That, that is very profound. It's the easy way out, but you had something that you had to live for. And I'm just amazed at your story. What do you do now? What do you offer? What services do you offer? Do you reach out to help people that are in the midst of situations? Of course, their situations may not be as extreme as yours, but that your extreme situation qualifies you to be able to help others. So what are you doing? What do you do that benefits others?
Well, I start out by writing my book, writing the story in the book, just give them I share step by step. My book is how I survive.
Mhm,
It's not about something else. It's just to show people that how I make it through.
mhm.
And a lot of my reader, they they was inspired. They sent me all kinds of messages. They told me that my story inspired them and changed their life.
Wow.
One of my fans and my reader, she follow me everywhere whenever I speak in the local area.
Mhm.
She follow me and listen to me. She said, I never be tired of listening to you, because your story, it just warmed my heart and inspired me. And she said, I never ever complain again. My life uh, problem is nothing compared to yours. So it's now that my story is so drastic, but it just that give people hope that no matter how difficult the life situation is, there is hope. If I can make it out alive, you can make it out too.
Do you, I always say that time flies when we're having fun, and we're running out of time for this interview, but let me ask you this. Have you ever, since that dreadful experience, have you ever come in contact with anyone that was there during that time?
Yes, yes. I make a few connections with some friends that live in the same camp. They found me, um, but we have like 3 or 4 of us. We found each other.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is that is wonderful. Tell us about your book. Where can we get our hands on it?
My book is called How I Survived the Killing Fields. It's available on my website, saraim.com. It's spelled SARAIM
Mhm.
.com. And it's in that website.
Well, Sarah, I'm telling you, you have really, really inspired me. And I'm sure that those that are listening to this podcast, you have inspired. I, I don't want to really say that you've inspired us. I want to change that and say you scratched the surface on inspiring us. It's if you have so much more to offer, and it's almost robbery to just limit a podcast to about 30 minutes of talking to you, because you have I'm sure so many more stories that pique our curiosity as to how you survived. One final question: how did you escape?
I escaped 3 times. The, the first time is from the infirmary when I was very sick. And the second time was escape out of the jungle when they moved the camp to the jungle. And then the third time is escaping out of Cambodia. Um, so how is just a courage. I pray also. I believe that there is God. At that time, that's all I know. I said there must be. I believe that there is God, and He powerful. So I pray to Him to help me. So God must help me. He must give me the courage to do what I did. So sometimes you have to have courage,
Mhm.
courage to escape out of a, a captivity.
Yes, yes. I know without a shadow of a doubt that I could speak for everyone. I am so glad that you had the courage to escape, and I'm so grateful and so glad that you escaped all 3 times. So the first time you escaped, they captured you again. Is that what happened? Or
No, um the first time I escaped out of the infirmary and I was able to get help. One of the team leaders uh, saw me and she helped me to find a job in the kitchen. So to get a job in the kitchen, that's a life saving situation right there.
mm,
And then the second escape when 4 years later when we were in the jungle, and I realized that I need to go to the town. I cannot find my family in the jungle. I need to get out from the jungle. So I gathered 3 trusted friends to escape with me. So I did not do it alone by myself the second time. I I bring 3 other friends to come with me. So we escape out of the jungle together.
wow.
And yeah,
Well, I want to thank
so
you for joining us. Sarah, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful experience. I can't wait to go on your website and get a copy of your book. I love to read, and I just want to read so much more about it. You have inspired me, as well as I'm sure you've been an inspiration to others around the world. And again, I thank you for your strength. I thank you for your courage, because it teaches us that there's nothing that we go through that we can't survive. And I want to say
right.
thank you for joining us, and hopefully we can get together and do this again.
Yes, yes, just reach out to me. And I also just want to let you know, beside my book, I also speak. I
Okay.
am an inspirational speaker.
I'm
So
sure of that. I'm sure of that. Well, Thank you again, and we'll be in touch real soon. And thank you for joining this podcast.
You're welcome. And you can encourage your audience, your listener to reach out to me.
Yes,
I have, yeah, I have a 15-minute uh, discovery call, and it's all free. So reach out to me through my website.
will do. Well, friends, we are out of time for the Underground Subway for this particular podcast, but I know that if you've been listening, that you've been inspired by the life experience, or what we call a testimony of Sara Im. Uh, just powerful, just powerful. And as I said earlier, I believe we just scratched the surface of what she went through. I want to challenge you to reach out to her. Her information is uh, in this podcast, in the description. Reach out to her, connect with her, use her experience to help push you forward in life going forward. We did not go through what she went through, but the fact that she went through it can be a tool, a strategy that we need to be free. Listen, Sara was in bondage. She was in captivity for 4 years. For 4 years, sleeping from 12 to 3 and 4 hours, sleeping on hardwood floors. If she had the courage to say, I will not die in this, that what I am is not my destiny, it is not my purpose. My purpose is stronger than my captivity. And she had the courage to break free. I believe you have that same courage to break free from everything that is holding you back from living a better life. I'm excited. Thank you for joining us. Again, we say thank you to Sara. And listen, my friends, as we end this podcast, I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to, before you go to bed tonight, before you lay down and go to sleep, find a mirror, look yourself in the eye, eyeball to eyeball. Just look at yourself and ask yourself a question. Ask yourself, today, did I do something to set myself free from what's holding me back? Or did I waste another day? We don't have any more time to waste. This is our day, like Sara's, to break free and be free and live a better life. I appreciate you, my friends. Love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And we'll talk to you next time on the Underground Subway.